Hi guys, it's Sophie. So I'm making a video today to talk about how to customize the reading spreadsheet. This is in relation to the 2020 reading spreadsheet. The video where I just explain how to use this on a basic way is on my YouTube channel, and if you haven't watched that video or gone and downloaded the spreadsheet, then definitely go and pause this and do that first. I thought I'd just show you a few simple things, a few things that I think people might like to customize, and just try and give some hints and tips for what you can do to use the sheet. So the very first thing I was going to show you is just colours. So I always set up a colour scheme that I enjoy. If you want to change it, you can go in here and you can choose other colours. So yeah, so it's super easy. You just go up here to the colours and you can choose preset colours. I've set up a theme based on the colours I used, but you can just choose any colour that you want. So you might find that you have some that really work for you. As I said, the pink was my alternative for this year, but that's how you do that. If you don't know how to set a theme, which helps you choose colours related to the colours you're using, that's pretty easy too. I'll show you how to do that quickly. So on the page layout tab up here, there's a list of colours, and to make your own colour scheme, you click customise colours, and then you can again choose the colours you like here. That's what I've done in this spreadsheet, so that's why everything lines up, all the graphs are in the same colour, and it's a super easy way of changing it. So as I said, pink was my alternative. I also had to go with green, but I really liked how the blue looked in the end. Now, I think probably the easiest, or the most common thing that people are going to want to do next is things like, so I talked about the drop-down boxes that are here. You might find that you read loads of different genres to these, and it might be again that maybe you read middle grade books and you want to add middle grade as an age range, or you read a different type of book that you want to enter into the book formats. So I use drop-down lists for all of these, and you can add your own in really easily. So I'll show you how to do that. So you want to right click down on the bottom of these bars, and there's hide and unhide. You're going to click unhide, and there's a spreadsheet called the hidden stuff, and you're going to click OK. So these are the lists that the spreadsheet is pulling from. So you can see how they're set up. They run down in the drop down list in the order that they're ordered here. So if you wanted to add in another one, I'm going to go for Lit RPG again as my example. So Lit RPG is now in our list. And then you're going to go back to reading data, and then in here in your genres, you're going to see that that isn't included yet. Okay, so this is how you're going to get them in. So I go down to 300 automatically. I think most people read less than 300 books in a year. If you don't, well done. And this is how you're going to add in those new categories in your drop downs. So you're going to go to the data tab there, and you're going to click on this little button called data validation. Okay, it's going to come up and say that it's set up how I've set it up. So there's a list, and it's saying it's looking for it here. To get that new one in, you need to click this little button here, and then you just want to highlight all of the genres that you want, so including Lit RPG, and press enter, and then you just press OK. So now any of those cells all the way down to 300 will include Lit RPG for you. So let's say that you wanted to change this one, you just go and you find your category. He's down the bottom because we haven't alphabetized them again, but there's Lit RPG. So that's now in as one of your genres. You can choose that one every time. So that's a super easy way of getting your genres in the way you want them to be. One thing to remember about adding in new genres is how you add a genre in here. I've talked about this a little bit in the other times I've done this, but I will just show you how to do that again in case anyone needs a reminder. So you're adding in a new genre, that's how you get it to your drop down list. How do you get it to appear on your stats? So what you're going to want to do is right click on the side of a column, and you're going to want to insert a row. It's going to push everything else down, so you just need to tidy these up. You're just going to cut them and paste them one up, and the same just here, so it all kind of tallies and looks nice and tidy, and move them up as well. And then in here you're going to type in Lit RPG, the same way that you've typed it in your list. You're going to highlight these cells and use this little plus icon to pull it down, and there you go, it's going to show one Lit RPG right there for you. So I've tried to make it super easy to add in new categories. The way I've written the formulas mean that you can literally just type things in here rather than having to make it really complicated and write anything in the code. So it lets you just pull down the code, which I think, like the formulas in the Excel sheet, which I think is much easier. So that's how you'd add in a new genre, and broadly that's how you'd add in like anything else. So like if you wanted to put middle grade in, you'd go to your hidden stuff tab, and over here you're gonna type middle grade, middle grade, just like that. And then again, grab the ones you want. And you know, if you know you're not going to read like 300 books, you don't have to scroll all the way down. I just try and make sure that I capture everything that I think most people will read. And then you're going to go back to your data validation button. List, yep, all good. Click on that button there and just select those, press enter and press OK. And again, then you'll find middle grade right there. Same again with the stats, you're just going to put another one in and pull it on down. So star rating here is probably one of the ones that's a little bit more difficult to edit because it isn't just pulling it down. So I'll show you star rating as an example, just in case anyone wants to do half stars. So if you put in, at the moment, if you put in 1.5, it's going to say, are you using half stars or more stars than 5? Great, but it's not in the stats page, so it will remind you if you're using half stars. Also, that looks like it just rounded up. If you want it to not round up, just here, you can select the column and just ask to show more digits. So there you go. If you want to choose half stars, that's how to make that look pretty and look okay. And then to get your half stars, so let's say that you wanted to have, that was 2.5 we just did in there. So you're going to need to do the same as you did before. You're going to need to make a new row. The reason I do this rather than inserting a cell like right next to it is that there's like rows further down that keep it nice and neat, like these ones there that say like bought books and stuff. And if you do it the other way around, it can just like shove everything up and it starts looking a little bit messy. So this is the best way I've found so far to kind of keep it tidy and clean. Okay, so I don't know how you want to put your half stars, but let's say it's like, I don't know, how would we do it? How would we do half stars, Foz, if we were a half star person? Okay, I'm just going to put star dash for an example, but you might want to just put 2.5. Okay, so we're going to drag it down again because you're still going to want like a really similar formula. You're just going to have to fiddle with it a little bit more. So you click in this box here. It says count if reading data. So what it's telling you is it's saying count the number of things in the reading data tab that equal 2. So we don't want it to say 2, we're looking for 2.5s now. So we're just going to put 2.5. So it's going to look for the 2.5 stars that you just gave that book. Oh, did we give it 2.5? Did we give it 1.5? We gave it 1.5. So we'll make that 1.5 instead. So there you go. Look for 1.5. And there's the half star. So that's how you do half stars. It's looking for 1 stars, it's looking for 2 stars, 1.5, 3, 4, 5. So if you're using ones that aren't 1 to 5, that's how you do it. So it's not too difficult. Okay, so we've had a bit of a play with that. I've just reset stuff so it's all kind of as it was before again. The next thing I got asked a lot is Americanized dates. You can totally do Americanized dates. So you can just write them all in as American dates, but you need to just fiddle around with how it comes up. So what you need to do is you need to go into this little box up here that says date, and you're going to want to go down here to where it says more number formats. And then here it's telling me that I'm in the UK. So that's why I'm using UK dates, but you can choose your location. Mostly it's US dates that people want. So if I click US dates, it's going to change it to a US style date. But you will also need to change the way that your stats page works with dates to make this work. That's why quite often it's fiddly and people struggle with it. So I'm going to try and make it easy. So for these, you literally just change the dates, or it might already be on your computer as Americanized dates. So that's quite easy to do. To change the actual dates, and this is going to mess everything up when I do it unless I change these dates. So actually let's change the dates first just so I get it to work. So we're going to go in the dates, more number formats, and then we're going to choose the United States dates in here. And let's say we want it to look like the same as it did before. So how do we want it? Should we have it as like that? So that would look the same as the same style. So there we go. There's the dates in American style. So you go to your stats page. There are quite a lot that use dates, so you just need to go through and make sure you haven't forgotten any. But you're going to go into here, into this bit here. So anywhere where it says January, February, etc., the cell next to that one. This is doing the same thing. It's asking it to add things if with a condition. So it's saying add this, count them all up if this is this. So these are currently set in UK style. So if you wanted to make it US style, you're just going to change the order of these. Okay, so to make my computer let me do this in the US states, I just had to tell my computer that I'm American. So all you have to do is just change the date round in here. So it doesn't have zeros, so we're just going to play without zeros, and you're just going to change it round. So you'll see how, because I changed it, all of these down here are saying there's no books read. But when I change them and I Americanize the date settings in here, they are gonna change around. So you might choose to do find and replace if you know how to do that instead of manually doing it, but I'm just showing you this way around because it's kind of the simplest way to understand what you're doing. Oh, I just did that the wrong way around. I've got to try and get like American dates in my head. They're so foreign to me. No, wrong way around again. 6/31. So you're just going to keep going down like that until you have all the dates in the American style, and then that will track your dates as you go down. So I'll just do a few more and then I'll just show you the end result. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the rest of the spreadsheet and do that for everything. So what I'm actually going to do is just undo those changes and put it back in UK format, but that is how you do it if you need to change it to US style. Okay, so we're back in the UK again. And we've done that. So what are the other things that people might like to look at? Something I get asked quite often is how to add in another column if you plan on tracking something else. You might choose to reuse one of these columns, or you might find that there is something additional you want to track. Something additional that you want to track, you're going to add a new column in like this. So that was right click, insert new column, and then you're going to write them in. Now it does depend on how kind of savvy you are. If you want to make a whole new one, then you're going to need to do, wrong one. You're going to need to do something similar to these. So you're going to need to put in your categories, and you're going to need to write one of these little things, but they aren't that hard. So we'll make a new one. Let's play around and make a new one. So we've made a new column here. What else could we want to track? Let's pretend that you are looking to read specifically LGBT books, and you don't want to use the diversity for that, you want to use that for other things. So your options might be none, like no representation, gay, bisexual, lesbian, pansexual, asexual, etc, etc. So you're going to make a little column here that will put the things in that you want to track. So I'm just going to write a few more in just so we get some mix of data. So that will do. So we've got some things in our column here now. So all of the things that you're already tracking should automatically update. So you shouldn't knock everything else out of line. You should be able to add a new one in fairly easily. We're going to steal age group, and we're going to put another one just down here, just because that's kind of easier than trying to reformat everything. So we're going to call this one LGBT, and we're going to write in the categories that we want. Now you might want to do a list. We've shown you how to do that earlier on, so that you can do drop downs. You might prefer not to, it's up to you. We're going to say none, and we're going to just type in the categories. So I'll come back in just a sec. Okay, so we've added in our categories. We're going to use that little plus button again. It's going to be really useful. And just drag him down. So we've got some pre-built bits of the formula in here, so you don't have to start everything from scratch. That's why I think it's helpful just to copy them sometimes. So we know we're doing a COUNTIF function, and it's set up so that it will count the number of things in a particular column if they equal something. Okay, so all of these are set up to look for the word that's here. That's how it lets you type things in you want to, and doesn't make it complicated by having you change the formulas. Most of it you don't need to, but adding in something new, you'll need to change a bit of it. So this is telling Excel to look in reading data. It's telling it to look in column J, because that's where age range is. But we're not interested in column J, we've just made a new column, column L, and that's the one we're really interested in. So we need to tell it to look in column L, not column J. So you're going to highlight all of them, because this is just going to be quicker, and you're going to click Control F. It's going to bring up this little menu here, and you're going to click on Replace. So it's currently got J in there, it's got J to J. We don't want J to J, we want L to L. So we're going to click Replace All, and it will say it's all done. And that's it. It's going to count your LGBT stats. So it really isn't that hard to add in another category if you're interested in tracking something else. That's how you do it. It's super, super easy. And that applies for like the same for the bought and borrowed. If you want to add more of them in and track more of them, exact same process. So the last thing I thought would be really helpful to show you guys is what happens if you want to make a graph of something that I haven't made like a standard graph of. Again, I think this is really easy, but it's just like good to be able to do. It gives you freedom when you're editing it. So let's say that you wanted to do a graph of series type, because that's one I haven't done. So you're going to select the data that you're interested in, the series type, not the total, or else that will come into you and that just makes it messy. And then you're going to go to Insert, and here there's some charts. So let's go for a pie chart. People like pie charts. And you're going to click pie. I've selected series type. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Select those ones just there. You don't add the percentages in. You just do the first bits. And then you click Insert pie. And there's your pie chart. And you just cut it and you pop it in wherever you want it. You might want to resize it. I always give them little titles. So this was series type. And then if you want them all to be in the same format, I've used style 4. Style 4. And the font that we're using throughout, and the font that's used throughout is down here. It begins with an R, Rockwell Nova Light. So you just select them and then choose the font that you want. And again, like say you wanted to change your colors, you can go on the colors here, and I've used color 4 for all of them to make them all kind of bright, but you could set your theme color and do that to your heart's content and decide how you want them to look. I also like to have all of my kind of series things along the side, so you just kind of like drag the little box around and resize him, and he can go sit up here. You can also make the chart a bit bigger. You click kind of like just outside of it, it'll give you a square, and you can make him bigger so he fills up more space. Yeah, so that's how you make a graph to show series type. If you wanted to say see your LGBT stats in a different kind of graph like the other one we had, you can do that. You can click Insert and choose the option of a column. So I normally just go for standard columns, and that's what they look like. And again, you can like change the format of those. On these I think I've used type 6. And then just change your font, change your title, change your colours, and you'll get it looking all pretty. So I think those are some of the main things you might want to play around and change. Obviously font's quite easy. If you want to change the font on a whole page, you click this little triangle up at the top, and then you can just choose like a font you prefer. So it's quite straightforward to customise and play around with and just have fun with. Also the colours down here. Say you have a theme and you want it to look really nice like I do, you just right click on them and you can choose the colours. So if we were going for like our little pink theme, you can make them all the same colour, like the pinks and reds, as they were on the rest of your sheet, so it all kind of matches. I think that's probably what most people ask me for. There's obviously a lot of like problem solving stuff, like people have changed something and it means that something else hasn't worked. And I will try and kind of help people as I can with those as they go along. But I think these are probably the most common questions that I have. So hopefully that's helpful, and thank you for kind of signing up and saying thank you for the sheet and, you know, having a look at some more hints and tips. Hopefully that's been helpful to sort of understand a little bit more about how you can fiddle around with it and make it your own. All of these little images I put in, I make them transparent. Most of them I make myself. I haven't made the books myself or the coins myself, but I made these ones myself. And they're quite easy to make, but we're not doing like a little drawing thing right now, but that's what they are. So you can change them if you have other pictures you want to put in. You can put other pictures in too. Yeah, I think that's about it. Hopefully that's helpful, and hopefully you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about how to make it your own and how to make sure it works for what you want it to work for. Yeah, if you have any other questions, always, my email is probably the best place to get me, so I can pick them up when I get a chance. But happy customizing, and thank you so much for being my Patreon, whether that is just for this month or whether that is something that you want to do kind of throughout the year. Thank you, it means a lot, and I really hope that you enjoy using this year. Okay, bye bye.